When I broke into your residence, I was thrown off by all the product and lubricant. How on earth could you be straight? But now I know you can love me forever and hold me with your soft girlish arms. Don't leave me. We can make the birthday and baby. Oh, there is no one else who could ever love you more. You should dump your wife. I hear she's pregnant and a whore. She's not good enough for you. I've seen all your shows and I've read your interviews. I'm your biggest fan. Baby, with me you'll never lose. I don't care that you're old and have no hair. I just want you to love me and hold me and give me over 9,000 kisses. Don't leave me. We can make the birthday and baby and the Mackie and babies. Christopher R. Thabit. Christopher R. Thabit. Won't you be my Thabit? So you guys should YouTube that. I'm actually trying to get more views on that, and there's a rap that I do as that character as well. That I actually just finished doing an actual, real, legitimate track of it with Chris Sabat. He actually helped me with the instrumental track, and I will probably be selling it on iTunes shortly. So you guys should totally go to my YouTube channel. It's Brinakins, Brinakins. Do it.
So you like singing stuff?
Yeah, I like to sing.
Right. Holding up the doll again, is this some magic?
It's, I don't know. Anyway, there was a video on YouTube where a fan asked J. Michael Tatum to do in his Sebastian voice, CL, do you like it rough? Can I get CL's response?
I prefer it more gentle, and then we can work into getting more rough. But you know, I want to start out slow. We're not talking about sex, though. We're talking about baking cakes.
I love rough cakes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Anyone got a question for Brina?
It's Wally.
I found you.
Oh, yeah, you guys say, where's Wally, right?
Yep.
In the States, you say, where's Waldo?
Yeah, you're really Waldo.
You're weird.
When you do like the voices for your animes, do you all in the studio at the same time, or is it just each of you do your voices and go home for the day?
We actually always record individually. It's very rare that we get to record at the same time. If we're doing a commentary, then we're in the booth together. But if just recording, we just take it one person at a time because it's easier as far as having, since it's all pre-animated, we have to match all the mouth movements, and it's easier to do that just one at a time versus everyone having to try to figure it out on their own, you know what I mean? And also just sound-wise, it's better to be isolated, just one person in a booth, so you don't have to worry about someone else, you know, messing up your take because they coughed or something. It is more fun, though, when you get to record all together. There are a lot of people that I had done several anime with that I didn't meet until several years later. It's like, oh, you were my father twice. So nice to meet you. But the only time that I've ever got to record with someone else in the booth that wasn't for a commentary was for the last episode of Beck, whenever they're looking at all the pictures together. And it was me and Greg Ayers in the booth together. But because our booths are not set up for multiple people, the way we were situated was really awkward because we had to be really close together. I mean, his head was essentially resting on my shoulder. Well, and we couldn't move from that spot. So whenever I wanted to talk to him and, you know, interact with him, I kept looking that way. But then it would sound like that, whenever it should be sounding like this. And so Taliesin, the director, had to continuously yell at me and remind me that I cannot move. So it sort of defeats the purpose, you know, of like interacting with the other person. But yeah, so to answer your question in a really long way, there you go.
Brina, is there a technical term for mouth movement?
Yes, flaps.
Oh, thank you.
Matching flaps.
Thanks. I love it when they say that.
Which I know sounds odd.
Hi.
Hello.
You've played a lot of male characters and a lot of female characters. Is there one you prefer, and are there any specific challenges when doing a male character that make it more or less difficult?
You know, it just depends on the character. And I really like voicing dudes a lot. I don't know why, I just really like it because it's so different, and I mean, it's fun to sort of get into that mindset because guys are so, I mean, this is very stereotype, but you know, just very, not as openly emotional. So when they're, like with CL in Black Butler, he goes through a lot of stuff through that show, but you know, if I were playing him as a girl, he would have been so much more emotional and like really, you know, more cryy sort of, but like CL doesn't do that because he's a boy. Boys don't really cry as much as girls do because they're not total pansies. I'm just kidding. But they're just not as open with their emotions. So I feel like that sort of adds an extra challenge to it, especially with a character like CL, who goes through so much throughout the series, and yet it has to be more subdued. And the fact that he's British on top of that, because British people tend to, you know, also have an extra layer of being sort of standoffish and cold, on top of the fact that he's a boy. And yeah, I like being a boy.
Have you ever worked without the restriction of the mouth flaps? And you know, if you haven't, have you ever wanted to?
I have before, and it is very freeing. It's much easier, which is funny because you get paid a lot more to do, it's called prelay, whenever you don't have to match the flaps. You get paid a lot more to do that, and yet it's significantly easier, in my opinion. But yeah, I would love to do more, but there's just not as much of that in Texas. I'd have to move to LA, Los Angeles to do something like that more often. But yeah, it's really fun. But it is kind of also fun having the challenge of having to match flaps because it's sort of like a puzzle. You have to, you know, still have all the emotion there and still be really connected with your character, but then at the same time, you have to fit these puzzle pieces, essentially. So I like them both for different reasons.
First of all, I want to say that I really love you.
Thanks.
Can you do a Juliet Capulet line?
Sure. Is this truly a love that can never be? That's the only one I remember. Oh, and then there's that one where she's like, name the Stafford of the Iris! It's really dramatic.
You should applaud her when she gets paid for that.
Oh, g'day, how you going?
Doing well.
I wonder if you can give us a sneak peek of your voice of the character in Rosary Vampire, Karuma?
I don't really remember. Oh my gosh, what does she sound like? I think she kind of sounds like Mikoto, maybe?
Awesome.
Hey, I'm Kurimu. Oh, and she does that yakka thing, or whatever. That's all I really remember. Hopefully that show will come out someday. It's been postponed for so long.
With Juliet, she has a lot of emotion. Like sometimes she's really a strong person, but then she's kind of a bit emotional. Do you find that difficult, just changing it like that?
You know, I don't, only because I feel like that's very realistic. I mean, just to play her as human, I think that a lot of people have vulnerable moments where they feel like